I remember when I first realized that forgiveness was something I not only needed, but I wanted. I was a new mom, and in some ways, so new in my faith. I had been asking God to help me heal. And honestly, at this point, it wasn't so much for my sake, but for the sake of the blonde haired, blue eyed child resting in my arms. I didn't want to be bound by the dysfunction of my past or by the wounds I still carried. And I didn't want to pass down a legacy of brokenness to one more generation. God, heal my heart. Each time I prayed that prayer, God, make me whole, I sensed God leading me to forgiveness. Now, what I understood about forgiveness could fit in a thimble at that time. The Bible talked a lot about it, and Jesus asked us to do it. That's what I knew. And then some people would say something like this: Jesus forgave, and so should we. And my inner response at that time was, but I'm not Jesus. At that point, the word forgive was like a mountain to climb, and I didn't know where to begin. So I tried to forgive the best I knew how. And what I found is that I might try in my own strength to forgive, but pick up those same hurts and resentment 2 days or 2 minutes later. I couldn't do it by myself. Stepping into any aspect of faith in obedience is honorable, but I needed to know more. I needed to understand what forgiveness was and why the Bible mentions forgive or forgiveness over 140 times in the New Testament alone. I needed to understand what it wasn't, because that's where I really struggled. After years and years of studying this topic, what I learned completely changed my view of forgiveness. I discovered there was freedom in forgiveness, and that's why the Bible talks about it so much. And those 140 plus references in the New Testament, they weren't limited to one word or one meaning. In fact, I uncovered a host of meanings when Jesus or others talked about forgiveness. What I realized is that God didn't want me carrying around a mountain sized burden of hurt, anger, and unresolved pain. Today, in this Together study, I want to begin by sharing what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not saying that it didn't happen. In fact, forgiveness is saying it did occur. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is not allowing abuse to continue. And this might be surprising for some of you. Forgiveness is not always reconciliation. For some of you, that's been the biggest hurdle. If someone harmed you and they have passed away, or they're actively abusive to you or someone you love, reconciliation may be impossible. However, releasing the tie that has held you to that abuse or those words or that hurt is absolutely possible. Forgiveness is not dependent upon someone else to come to you to ask for forgiveness. And forgiveness is not a one time event. Sometimes the hurt just creeps back in. Sometimes it hits you like a hurricane. Sometimes you have laid it down for years and you thought it was resolved, and suddenly the need to forgive again startles you by showing back up. And that's perfectly normal. We all experience that. I want to thank you for joining me today in this Together study called The Freedom in Forgiveness and How to Live It. The resource we're using is The Unburdened Heart, Finding the Freedom of Forgiveness. And this week, I want to invite you to read the introduction in chapter 1 of The Unburdened Heart. Each Monday, I'll post a mini teaching just like this one. And Tuesday through Thursday, we'll take it deeper. On Fridays, we'll talk about what we are learning and how to live it. We'll also pray together. Living as a forgiver doesn't change the past. And it may not change that other person, though it can. But it absolutely has the power to change you and me, which can also alter the story of those you love. That baby girl I once held is now in her 30s. While I made a ton of mistakes as I grew and I learned and I stretched my faith and I became a mama, I can look at her and I can see and answered prayer. God, heal my heart. Regardless of where you are in your faith, in your forgiveness journey, or whether you think it's too late, as you and I discover what it means to forgive, He answers that prayer not just for me, but for you too. God, heal my heart.